All right, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Bar. I am your host, Devon Grogans, here with co-host and none other than the Tommy John with Tommy John Coaching, where we go beyond the X's and O's, beyond the stage, and we talk about life and how it pertains to bodybuilding. We do hit some of those topics, but a lot of it just pertains to life around the stage rather than on the stage. So we got a lot of good things in store for this episode. Tommy is now, what, 2 weeks out?
2 weeks. Yep.
2 weeks. So you got this week and then peak week, and you're on it.
I'm
Uh,
in the I'm counting in days now.
yeah, we're no longer at the weeks and we're counting down days. So
Yeah.
we're going to start with a quick fill in on where Tommy's at. We're going to talk about jumping ship when it comes to coaches and more so coach hopping. So one to the other to the other. And then we're going to wrap it up with a new kind of series. Don't have a name for it yet, but we're going to talk a little bit of training and what we prefer for specific body parts. Each week, we'll pick a new body part. Tommy will pick his best three. I'll pick my best three, and we'll go at it. And then, not really go at it, but we'll talk about it. And then we're going to try to get into some physique critique. So, if you guys want us to take a look at your physique and how it pertains to particular muscle groups that you can improve on, we would love to do that. So, go ahead and shoot that over either in Tommy's Discord or you can hit us up on Instagram. But let's jump into it. Tommy, 2 weeks out, what, 15 days ish?
Yeah,
14,
yeah, 12.
13, 12,
13,
12 days.
12, something like that. Yeah.
Math ain't mathing, but
Hey, do me a favor and title this podcast Tommy Leaves AJ. I just want to see if because he watches our podcast sometimes, so it would be funny just to tease him
all
a
right,
little bit.
we're doing it. We're
Because
doing it.
that apparently that's how athletes leave coaches now is just making a post or something.
I
You know,
know. Why is it always it's always got to be a big thing. AJ, if you're watching, we want you on the show. We want you on the show bad. So
yeah, yeah,
jump on when you got some
100%.
time.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so prep is good. Just prepping along. We're digging the last few days, and then we're gonna start adding food back here pretty soon.
Mhm.
I feel good, dude. I mean, I'm tired today, the last few days. Just food's been pretty low. Just typical stuff. Once the body fat gets so low, you just kind of um, you lose a little sharpness and stuff like that. But overall, pretty good. Sleep is the best it's ever been in prep. That doesn't mean it's good,
Right.
but it's still by far the best it's ever been. Instead of sleeping 3 hours a night, like my typical prep scenario, um, I'm getting about six, 6.5 with,
That's
maybe 1 to 2 wake ups here and there.
that's
Um,
pretty good.
yeah, dude, it's really not bad. Training is still really, really good. Like, dude, I could move some shit if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm just being cautious because everything's a little dry. You
Yeah,
could,
dry. I was gonna say dry joints, ligaments. Got to make sure that we're not
yeah, yeah. So I'm just auto-regulating as needed.
right.
I'm actually focusing, and Skip has said this before too, but more recently, Danny just reminded me of it. Is hey, for training the next few weeks, really think about your poses and some of the movements that you're doing, right? Some of the back stuff, I'm thinking about, lat spreads. And if I'm lengthening that movement, I'm thinking about separating those scapulas and lengthening, and you know how it is, right? So.
It's so funny you say that because I just had a posing client of mine reach out and he said, "Hey, off season, how frequent do you think we really need to like have sessions?" And I said, honestly, like maybe because I'll do 30-minute sessions and then as people progress, we'll usually break into 15 because you get
Yeah.
to a certain point where you just don't need 30 minutes. So maybe
No,
four
no.
15-minute sessions, so two 30-minute sessions that we'll split up. But I said, when you get about eight, once you start a prep and you get about 8 weeks out, that's when you're not only going to be posing every day, but you're going to work your posing into your training. You're
Yeah.
going to be thinking about the movements that you're doing and how it pertains to your posing and connect the dots there. And that's
Yeah.
perfect. I'm glad
Yeah,
you brought that up.
there's like a chest supported like pull down row type thing that I do. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking about hitting a side chest,
Yep.
in the back of everyone, and yeah, just a lot of different things. A fly,
Yep.
you're thinking about the most muscular, just even a side raise. I'm thinking about my front relax, right?
See,
Uh,
and
y-
for men's physique, for me, it's opposite. I'm hitting those side
Yeah.
raises and I'm thinking about the back shot,
Yeah.
lifting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. But it's almost that same position that you want to be in. And so as
Yep.
I'm doing that, I'm really trying to connect, yes, with the shoulders, but also the lats, the upper back. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's
So
important.
rear delt stuff. I'm thinking about my back relaxed, and yeah, just you guys get it. But that's the premise and focus of my training right now is just keeping the body primed and healthy and just moving. I could really bang shit if I wanted to, which is scary because
Yeah.
I've never felt like that this deep in prep. So with the combination of AJ's master work and Danny's master work, like I spoke on before, I mean, the
Mhm.
combination of the two, dude, unreal team I have for real. Yeah, it's good
Love it.
shit. Yep.
That's awesome. I'm currently in week 7, going into week 7 in this push phase. I plan on
Yep.
running it about 16 weeks. Um, Pending blood work and everything. If if body's still running the way it is now, then we might, I might keep going a little bit longer, but super efficient right now. Like I had my
I saw
750,
that.
yeah, 750 carb high day. And aside from pancakes, which is literally just pancake mix and water, today it was apple juice or apple cider just to kind of
Mix it up.
two
Yeah.
together. Yeah. So I wasn't have
And
to.
that's good for some digestion stuff, right?
Oh yeah,
It's a good call.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Um,
it's been all, whole food, so it's not easy by any means. But my body's ripping, like I'm down a pound exactly. Um, it's crazy, and the amount of energy that I've had in the gym after after last week's high day has been unreal. So, I mean, things are just clicking. I'm not necessarily looking to put a ton of size on, but more so it's just to see how far I can push the food because my weight has stayed within 2 pounds. I've been bouncing between like 225 and 227 for almost the entirety of starting this push phase. I was down around 220, 222. Um, and for the most part, I've been bouncing right around 225, 227, and just adding more and more food every week.
so beyond the obvious of just the maturation process of you being a competitor for years and years now and you lifting and following a plan for a long time now, what else are you attributing, these recent results and efficiency to? Like what types of variable do you think is compounding to have all of these effects for you?
Yeah, so I've made a couple of changes in how I'm operating now versus how I used to. Not big changes, very subtle, but they've made some big impacts. One, the addition of Retta has helped, and not so I'm using a very, very small amount. Uh,
Yeah.
and when I say small amount, I just titrated up last week, so week 6, I titrated up to 1.5 per week. I would have,
That's as high as I got in the off season, and
yeah,
I thought it was a almost a near perfect
yeah, and
place to be.
I was gonna say I don't plan on going above
Okay.
1 point at all.
Yeah.
So I will stay here. The first 5 weeks was here, 6 weeks, and then from 6 on, I'll stay here. But the
And
insulin,
code Tommy Omega Amino.
yes, code Tommy,
That's where
Omega amino.
that's where Devon gets his
It
Retta.
is. That
I
is.
know, I know, I know.
Absolutely. It has helped with the insulin sensitivity a ton. Like my blood glucose levels have been so much more improved over over my levels in the past. So that's helped. The other thing that I've done is I actually pulled my protein down. I used to
Yeah, dude.
I
Yes.
used to in an off season, I would keep my protein at 1 to even like 1.2 and then I would start pushing carbs up. I actually keep it now about zero point 0.8 and I've just been pushing carbs. And I'll push carbs up and then I will add about 5 to 8 grams of fat total, and
And
then I'll go back to pushing carbs.
and you do a cyclic approach. Do you just do training, non-training, or you do high days as well, right?
So I go training, non-training, and then kind of like a load or
A low
saturation day.
day
But the
saturation. Yeah, yeah.
load day is probably been the biggest game changer. It
So
you
my question was going to be, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
I just want to know if we're on the same page. I think we are. Do you keep your protein even lower on those saturation days?
So I used to not. My load days used to just be hit my protein target
Yeah.
and then increase carbs, and whatever fats came along with it came along with it. So my typical, and it's so funny because when I tell people what I eat, they're like, that's a like a bulk push phase for you. Um, when we talk, and I'm going to tangent this for a second, but I promise I'll bring it back.
You're good. No, you're good.
When we talk about um, genetics, most of the time people think body structure. Um,
It's
what
wrong,
people
dude. It's
what
wrong.
people often forget
Yeah.
is that it is also the ability to process supplements
Processed food. Yeah.
and processed food. My body grows on 27 to 3,200 calories.
Hmm.
I right now am eating about 2,900 calories and growing. The part that sucks because people are like, oh, that must be nice. It's great. Yeah, I don't have to eat a ton. However, I also have to get really low when I'm in a prep. But I say all that to say that when I do my saturation or load days now, I take my protein from zero point 0.8 to about zero point 0.5. I literally cut my protein in half.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
take my fats basically down to minimum. I do not add any added fat. So whereas normally each meal would have about 25 to 30 grams of fat, if I get 10, I'm good. And that's whatever's coming along with most food sources.
Yeah. The trace stuff, right?
Yeah, very trace. So, and then I just push my carbs high. And what that has done for me is when we think about what is the purpose in an off season for a load day, I don't need the proteins, I don't need the fats. I just need carbs. I need glycogen and energy so I can push as hard as I can in the gym. So why would I add the extra calories, which in the past has just skyrocketed my weight week after week? When I can keep my calories essentially lower. Last week, I did 750 grams of carbs. I did 135 grams of protein. And I
Hmm.
did like 28 grams of fat. My total caloric intake was about 600 calories above what I normally eat. That's
It's
nothing.
perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
So my
Yeah.
body's getting everything it needs for the day, which is a surplus of energy and
Yeah.
glycogen, and it's ripping through everything else. And then I really don't add any weight, but I'm getting the benefit of why I'm eating all of the carbs. So that is
Yeah, well,
game changer.
and then on a macro scale, right, across the week, across the month, what is that high day doing? And so that's what people forget. It's not a day-to-day process. Sometimes you got to zoom out and look at
Yep.
the week as a whole.
Yep.
Um, but with you smashing those carbs, those saturation days, um, dude, all they do is just rev up your metabolism even
Yeah.
more for the days to follow.
I
So
was just gonna say, I wake up Monday, and the other thing is
ravenous,
yeah,
ravenous.
because there's not a surplus of proteins and fats. A, I have zero stomach distension. I'm literally
Boom.
eating 750 grams of carbs, and when I look in the mirror at night, it looks like I just woke up,
You're
and I'm tired.
tighter. You're
Yes,
tighter. Yeah.
because
And
the
part of that, Devin, and I know you know this, but part of that, like your body needs water
Mhm.
to store the glycogen. So
Yep.
it will pull sub Q water. It will
Mhm.
find water, assuming that, you're not a bloated mess, which you never are.
Yep.
But those saturation days, they'll make you drier a lot of the
Yep.
times because they're pulling sub Q water in order to store glycogen, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's always my result from those saturation days. And AJ and Skip do them a little different. But the overall concept is the same, right?
And
So,
it's funny because my normal bedtime weight, it fluctuates 2 to 3 pounds, but it's usually between 229 and 231, 232. I go to bed Sunday at almost my second lowest weight of the week when I'm
hmm,
eating the most amount of food. Uh,
really?
I don't, yeah, and I get all my water in. So training days, I make sure I get 2 gallons in. Non-training days, which would be today, I make sure I get a minimum of a gallon and a half. So it's not a huge variance. I'm not skipping out on water, but
No, and that's the other thing. You're getting water from a lot of the carbs that you're eating, depending on what source you're using, right? If you're using cream of rice or rice, there's a good amount of hydration in there. And then, yeah, no,
most
that's
of it is. Almost
perfect,
all of
dude.
it is cream of rice and rice.
Yeah, goes
Pancakes
down
had,
easy. Yep.
8 cups or had 8 ounces of apple juice in it. So I'm still getting fluids in from there. But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect setup. Perfect setup. Because I've had people ask me two things, right? Why is my protein so low on this day or that day? And it's like, well, I just really don't think you need as much protein as people once thought.
Yeah.
Meadows has touched on that before. Matt Porter has touched on that before. Just like
Not Chase, but
Chase has too.
he
Chase,
has. But
yeah,
who am I
even when he ran the
Kurt.
sugar diet, yeah, Kurt's touched on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's at one point it becomes an expensive carb, right? The protein. Um, and like to be fair, I mean carbs just taste better than protein.
Well,
But
yeah, and for me, the biggest thing, especially on the Retta, is I don't want it to slow down my digestion. It all just the amount of food that I'm consuming, usually Monday, Tuesday, my digestion is a little bit slower than it is through the rest of the week because that's still a lot of food to process. So I know that if I throw fats and proteins in on top of that, it's going to be a mess for the
yeah.
days to come.
So we have, just years and years of consistent discipline and work compounding. We have some pharmacology stuff like the retatrutide, which has significantly helped you. Give me one more on, give me two more variables on what you think has really revved up this year compared to other years for you.
Yep, focusing on digestion because
Okay.
again, I'm a firm believer, and I say it to every single one of my clients: you are what you eat. You are what your body can digest. It doesn't
Are
matter
are
if
you
you.
using gut revival yet?
I don't use gut revival. I use
Okay.
a couple other things. I'm a big proponent of pickled and fermented foods.
Yeah.
I love it, and it's funny because uh, what was it the other day? He had just posted um about shredded carrots and vinegar.
Oh,
And
the gut salad.
yeah,
Yeah,
the gut
yeah.
salad.
Hmm.
So, and it's funny because
Dude, that shit's awesome. It
I
tastes
eat
so
that.
good.
I like one of my favorite things is to snack on baby carrots. And
Yeah.
so, and I usually take a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar a week. But what I just started doing was I just took a Tupperware, filled it up with apple cider vinegar, ginger powder, and a little bit of garlic powder. And now I just throw like a couple handfuls of baby carrots in there, and every day
Yep.
I just eat a few from the bottom. But making sure that my digestion is good has been a game changer all around.
And a lot of the times, Retta is actually improving people's
Yes.
digestion, regardless of what they believe. And we're not gonna just praise Retta this entire episode, I promise, but it is a factor for sure. And then, so digestion is third, and then what's the other?
EPC 157
Oh
nasal
yeah.
spray. I use that a lot for for gut health too, which helps.
Have you done the KPV yet?
I have not.
I just added KPV. Um, I was doing like I used it a little bit, but I just added it back in consistently at 1 milligram a day.
Okay.
Instant improvements.
Huh. I'll look in.
That with the BPC, um, instant improvements in my gut, dude. Like,
Huh.
no type of gas or anything at all, even on my highest saturation days. Like, um, it was one of those things where I'm like, I didn't know it was going to work so well. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I brushed it off for a little. Like, oh, okay, everyone's talking about another new thing. And I'm like, then I tried it. I'm like, damn it. I was wrong again.
Does work.
So there's that. And then what's your fourth one?
Sure. So the last one, and this is something that I've thought about doing for a long time. I think I've touched on it before, but pairing from 6 meals to 3 meals. And
Okay.
I truly think that has worked very well for me for a couple of reasons. I have a very, very high appetite. I could easily out eat my macro prescription regularly. Like
Yeah.
that, whether
3x
I'm in a
it
bunch.
every day.
Yeah, every day. My appetite is very, very high. Retta aside, like even prior to the Retta,
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
yeah, even with the Retta, like I could
Yeah.
eat beyond. The only difference, like I'll look at food and be like, I'll get halfway through a meal sometimes now with the Retta and be like, oh man, okay, I still got to eat the rest of this.
Yeah.
But I'll eat it, and I still have the feeling of I could continue to eat. I've always been like that. So the three meals has done a couple of things. One is I'm not constantly eating, which means I'm not constantly making my gut digest food. Because generally speaking, eating every 2 to 3 hours, especially in a push phase, food's still sitting in your stomach while you're eating the next meal, which means by the time you get to that third meal, you still have part of meal one plus meal two. Now you're eating meal three.
Compounding.
So you're
Yeah.
just compounding food, making your digestion work harder and harder. Since I have switched to three meals, and this was far before the Retta, not only are they larger meals, so I'm more satisfied, it helps with the food noise in the sense that instead of eating, 400 to 500 calories per meal, each meal is about 1,000 calories. So I'm not even really worried about food. I'm fuller longer, but by the time hour 4 or 5 rolls around, I'm ready to eat again. But I feel like everything is fully settled and digested
You,
before I'm starting to eat that next meal.
you know what that is? It's improvement in the MMC, the
Hmm.
migrating motor complex. So that's why bodybuilders get bogged down in the gut because the migrating motor complex is always backed up.
Yeah.
So to make it more efficient, what you're doing is just putting the meals further apart. So really people still could get that done with 6 meals a day, but they have to be up very early to get that first meal in. And
Yeah.
they really need about 3, 4.5 hours in between meals.
Hmm.
Most people don't have that time, especially with the size of meals that some bodybuilders have to eat, right?
Yep.
Um, but that's what's happening on a different level is that migrating motor complex. And gives you time for true clearance before you're slamming it. And the other thing that people will mess up that process with is like drinking EAAs all day long
Yep.
or lots of energy drinks all day long. Um, Even nicotine can have an effect on it too.
Oh,
So
it's interesting.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, nicotine, any artificial sweeteners, any type of snacking. I know you don't snack, but some people are like kind of snacking on shit all day long out of their computer desk and whatever else. But that will change the migrating motor complex. So essentially, by you dropping your meals to 3, that's what you're doing is improving that, and it's incredibly effective.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I now know the science behind it. I just know I
Hmm.
figured, hey, let me try this for a few weeks, and within the first 2 weeks, I noticed a huge difference. I was like, all right, this is what I will be doing
Bingo.
moving forward.
Yep. Yep. Bingo. 100%. So we have athletes leaving coaches again.
Yeah, often. We got what? We got James Hollingshead, who just left Chris.
Yep.
We have Nick Walker, who oddly enough, after saying he wasn't going to leave Kyle, just left Kyle.
Hmm.
Anybody else?
Keon.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Keon.
about that one.
Keon left Patrick.
What?
Yeah.
Who is it for who? His girlfriend or
I don't
fiance?
I don't know. I
'Cause I
don't
know
know.
she
I
was running
think
most of
so.
his prep prior to, which is
Yeah.
okay, but I mean, and they did a bang up job. Like,
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
but
mean, man, Keon, I mean, not taking anything away from his partner, but it'd be hard to fuck up that guy. He's
yeah.
just so good. He's so
Well, then,
good, dude.
did Sean leave? Who was Sean?
Yes.
And then he
Yes.
because John Jewett finished his prep for Olympia.
Sean was with Stefan, boss of
Okay.
Outlaw. Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if Brett left boss or not. I don't know. We would have to fact check that before I start shit, but yeah, I don't know for sure. So what's going on with all of that, Devin? Like what's the thing with it?
Man, I don't even I don't even know. It's I was watching some of the podcasts with Andrew Barry and Chris and Kyle actually, and
Mm-hmm.
they were touching a little bit on people moving around. From what I heard about James, he wanted somebody that was closer to him to keep an eye on him directly, which to a degree, I guess makes sense. My
No, it doesn't.
I was gonna say,
But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
I feel like
It still
some
doesn't make
I
sense.
feel so here's what I was gonna say. I feel like some athletes need that
But
uh as a
why?
it, I think it's a form of reassurance for them. But if a coach brings you in, regardless of where they are located, I don't see the purpose in making the switch.
Well, not only that, Chris flew his ass to France anyways and put your
That's
damn
true.
tan on. So he was right there with you, buddy. So what are we talking about? It seems like a runaround excuse. I don't
The
know.
Nick thing, I the Nick thing's crazy to me because one of the things that Kyle said, and it makes total sense, is a lot of the choices Nick seems to make are emotional and not rational. He's switched apparel companies several times. He has switched supplement companies several times, coaches several times because he was with Kyle, then left Kyle, then got with
Jansen, then Dom Super
Jansen.
Slice, then back to Jansen, then
Yep.
back to
Back to
Kyle.
Kyle. Yeah.
And
And I,
and that's he's only been pro since 2020. People forget
yeah,
that.
yeah. And Kyle said he told him that he thought they had messed up the Pittsburgh prep, that he didn't come in that good when he
Hmm.
arguably should have beaten Derek. It's like, how much better were you going to? Because you almost beat the number one guy in the world with that
Here's
look.
here's the thing, and maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. You can ask my wife. But in my opinion, it's very rare that I'm wrong. um, no, I'm joking aside, Nick hasn't competed at the Olympia for how many years now? Two?
Two.
He missed two, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Kyle did not bring him in the best. Okay. You still got sixth place at the Olympia after not competing for 2 years.
Yeah. And bringing arguably one of your
Bro,
less desirable looks in a long time.
the champion of last year got fourth, which is a bigger loss.
Yeah.
You tell me which one's a victory and which one's a loss. Coming in 2 years out now, you haven't competed in 2 years. You still, in your arguably worst form, place sixth, while
Yep.
the guy that plays first went down to fourth, arguably should have been fifth.
Hmm.
You guys tell us in the comments which one is a more tragic loss. I think Nick had a victory.
Oh yeah.
Man, you haven't been on that stage in 2 years. Yes, you did not look your best. You still got sixth place.
Hmm.
Bro. And that's Kyle's first try at it.
Yeah.
Sixth place after you not being on that stage for 2 years. And listen, I'm not throwing shade at Nick because I love him. He's one of my favorite bodybuilders. I feel like he's one of my favorite people. He's just like a good dude. From what I gather from him, at least, right? I don't know him. I don't text him. Do you call him at home? um, but yeah, so that's kind of the way I saw it. And I was laughing with Raymond. I was talking to Raymond the other day, and I said, listen, I swear Andrew was listening to my live on Friday because I said the same thing, man. Like, get the spray tan off you, get some food in you before you make any decisions.
Yes.
Don't sell your house, don't move across the country, don't, rob a bank. Um, you know, don't make these huge decisions that close pre or post competition. We all know anyone that's ever competed, your mind is not right
No.
for the 4 weeks leading up to a show and the 4 to 8 weeks post show.
Hmm.
You are not the same person.
No, emotionally you are all over the place because hormonally you are not regulated to where you would typically be.
So it's hormonally, right? That's huge. But the other thing is he's embarrassed. He's embarrassed because of the what social media does to these athletes.
Hmm.
Because now in his mind, everyone got in his head. Kyle destroyed Nick's look. Kyle did this, that, and the other. Kyle's fault for, Nick looking like this, and Nick took six. He's done forever. And if he stays with Kyle, he's never going to be top three. he won't ever win the Olympia. And so Nick's sitting there trying to calculate all this shit, and you're in a vulnerable position when, dude, you still smell like spray tan, dude. I can see it in his fingernails. The spray tan's not even off yet. And now you're making these huge decisions.
Well, and I think there's a another factor in what you just said too, where the influence of people saying, Kyle ruined your prep or Kyle, and it's funny because I see this with a lot of athletes where it's my coach and I, my coach and I. Then the minute something goes wrong,
Yeah,
it's my coach.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's never the maybe I could have done a little bit better at X, Y, and Z. It was my coach ruined this or my coach. But up until that point, when everything was good and you thought you were looking great, and all of a sudden you don't, it was we and us and this, and then you get the placing that you weren't hoping for, and it becomes my coach. And that is the issue I have with a lot of the coach jumping in general, regardless of the level, is if you can look internally and say, I did every single thing to a T and we missed the mark, okay, maybe, but at the same time, you're gonna hold I can't even call it a failure because like you said, you didn't compete for 2 years and you took sixth place. So you hold one misplacing against your coach. What's going to happen when you switch coaches? Now you're working with somebody that's never worked with you before. So you think that this person is going to learn your body and peak you better in a shorter period of time, which they might. Like look at Sean and John. They connected. It seemed to work out really well. They fixed some things. He came in arguably with one of his best looks ever.
But
What?
here's the thing. Let me cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Is John doing anything different for Sean than Stefan besides just giving him the attention that he needs?
Uh,
Because maybe Stefan has the tools to get Sean to where he needs to be. Maybe the effort wasn't just all there, right?
Well, and it's from what John was saying on what I was listening to, there was some pushback from Sean during the prep,
Yep.
and John was like, "Look, this is the way you've been doing it. We can continue to do it this way, and you can continue to get the placing and the look that you've gotten before, or we can try doing it this way and see what happens." Whereas maybe Stefan, when Sean was giving him pushback, was just saying, "Okay, we'll continue this route because this is the route you want to go." So
Never know.
again. And I've always been a big advocate of follow everything to a T, listen to what your coach says, and at the end of the day, if it doesn't fall into place, you guys need to come together and look at what needs to get fixed to move forward. Because to put all of that on the
Yes.
coach, like, yes, you could say, okay, I did this, this, and this, and we missed the mark. But then it's not what did you do wrong to your coach? It's what can we do as a collective to get better and move forward?
Well, and here's the thing is you and I are coaches, right? So we have another view. We're both athletes and coaches, so we have both views of this. So I do think we have good input on it. But the thing is, like, even if you follow our plan as coaches to the T, maybe the body just didn't respond. And I hate that terminology, but there's
True.
so many systems in the body,
Yeah.
the stress, all these things coaches have no control over,
It's not, yeah.
athletes have no control over. Um, you know, we can't see at a cellular level how your kidneys are functioning. And maybe the carb up wasn't the problem. Maybe it was something in the endocrine system that you can't foresee that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Coaches don't have a crystal ball.
This is the exact point to when I hear people say the body is a machine. No, it's not.
No, it's
Because
not,
because a
dude.
machine has a direct input with a correlated output. If you're tuning a
Machines
car,
are binary.
yeah.
It's
If
either
you
on
tune
or off.
Yep. If you're tuning a car and you adjust for timing and you adjust for all these different variables, you know what you're going to see going across that line. With the
Yeah,
body, you can make an adjustment and you can expect a certain variable, but it doesn't mean you're going to get that.
not at all. And spreadsheet bodybuilding doesn't work.
No.
That how many people have so much pushback on skip loading and supersaturation because, oh well, if you're in a deficit and then one day now all of a sudden you're in a 5,000 calorie surplus, the math doesn't math and you're just going to gain 3 pounds of fat. And it's like, that's not how the metabolism works.
Yeah.
It's not a calculator.
Well, and
It's it's
that's the other problem too, is like you said, it's not binary. Your metabolism is your body is not just in a state of burning fat or building muscle. It switches often.
coaches can make this might sound bad to some people. Coaches make the best guesses that they can based off all the knowledge they have and their experiences.
Absolutely.
They are just best guesses. There's absolutely no way to know exactly how anybody is going to respond to a certain change, but we can get pretty damn close and you get very good at it, especially if you track your clients very closely and you kind of build their system and you learn patterns, typical patterns.
I was just gonna say we work off of patterns.
But sometimes the patterns change when the stress level goes to the roof because Nick is doom scrolling Instagram and, "Oh, I don't know, Nick's not going to be ready. And, all this shit. And I don't know, Nick is looking too lean or whatever, whatever people say on the internet. Coaches can't stop that. They
Hmm.
can't stop that whole entire stress and emotion response that uh, athletes, specifically bodybuilders, are so prone to.
Yep.
Tell me
Yeah.
this. Who's more prone to criticism than a bodybuilder?
Yeah.
Very few, dude. Very few. We literally our entire worth feels like what we look like.
Hmm.
So one person, and let's say that words of affirmation is Nick's love language, okay? His worth, his business, his brand is how he looks.
Yep.
1,000 people say he looks bad. Those are 1,000 gunshot wounds to him. He literally just got shot 1,000 times. And now he's looking at Kyle as, well, you did this to me. You're the reason I'm getting shot, right? You're the reason
Comparison
I'm
people
in
do it.
pain.
Yep.
It's literally when your love language is words of affirmation and that's your worth, that's your business, that's your brand, the way you look is how you identify. And then people are tearing it down on the internet within seconds of you walking off the stage, bro, that's a
Yeah.
disaster. It's an absolute epidemic to
Hmm.
his whole system. And of course he's going to leave Kyle after that. And man, that hurts. That hurts Kyle so bad. It hurts
Oh
Kyle
yeah.
so bad. It hurts
Uh,
Kyle just as bad as all those bad things hurt Nick, right?
And I think that's where we as coaches, we want to be, I don't necessarily want to say friend. We don't necessarily want or need to be friends with all of our clients, but there's a certain level of
Well,
attachment.
you and I do.
Yeah, well, when you care, you do. But there's a certain level of attachment, I think, also that comes along with that. And when you are attached at an emotional level with a client more than just a transactional level of this is my job to bring you in, I think it hurts a little bit more. Uh,
It's worse because Kyle's an athlete
yeah,
and we are athletes. So my client's progress is now my progress.
yep,
Literally. So not only is my bodybuilding, the way I look is my bodybuilding, but now all of my clients are the way I look in a transitive way, right?
mhm,
So if my client is unhappy or doesn't feel good, I'm unhappy and I don't feel good. And they're literally appendages of you. They're just extensions of you. And not every coach is like that. And, most coaches will say, don't ever become emotionally attached
mhm.
to any client because they will leave you at any moment. And I'm not a guy that can do that. I take loss very hard. You know that I've had conversations with you about specific clients where um it literally eats away at me. It
Hmm.
and that's a me thing. And I can't control that, but it seems like when I heard Kyle talking, I'm just watching and I'm like, he hurts, dude.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
and
you can
and
tell.
Chris Tuttle, same thing. He's like, bro, I flew to France. Like, he's like, what more can I do? And like, I could literally feel the pain like in his voice. And um, all that says to me is those are just great coaches.
Oh yeah.
Kyle, Chris Tuttle, Andrew, I think all three of them are great coaches
Mhm.
because they all feel that when a client leads them. That's why they made a whole episode about it. It wasn't to defend Kyle or anything. They're just like, hey, we need to show you guys from the coach's perspective what this does to us. We're not just like, I don't know, we're not just like, hey, we just write diets for people. Like, dude, their progress is literally our worth. It's our brand. It's we identify with their progress, and it's man, it's tough. And I could just see the emotion and I could feel it. I'm like, man, it's just
And
painful.
one thing I will preface with all of this is we're not necessarily talking about just lead. Like, if you feel the need to move on from a coach,
Oh, sure.
absolutely. You are not, as a competitor, you owe nothing to the coach, essentially. Um,
Besides at least a small explanation.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Don't be the guy that just says, "Hey, I'm done," and then you move on, or you've already started working with another coach and then you just pay for your last month. At least have the decency to say, "Hey, I'm moving on. Thank you for your service." In that instance, this is more the people that are jumping from coach to coach to coach on a frequent basis, and it's it always
tell
makes me wonder.
tell oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
I was just
sorry.
gonna say, it always makes me wonder, what is it that those people are hoping for? If I think the grass is greener where you water it, right?
Mhm.
So I guess if you're constantly changing coaches, what is it that you're hoping to get from a coach? Because not at some point, you can't win every show. When there's 20 plus people that are arguably just as good or very close, you're not going to win every show. Some
Right.
people might. And if that's the case, it doesn't matter who your coach is. You're going to win regardless, unless.
Tell me a scenario, and maybe you have a few, but I want to know exact scenarios where you saw an athlete leave a coach, go to another one, and significantly level up. Give me a few examples.
Ooh,
The one that comes to mind for me is Sean
yes.
leaving Stefan, going to
Yep.
John Jewett. That is the most dramatic progress I've ever seen from one person leaving a coach to another. What other examples do you have?
The only other one, and it's funny because it was mutual, but to the point, would be Chris Bumstead. And that would be when he left Ian. But Ian even told
Mm,
him, you are now outside of my wheelhouse. He said, I think I have gotten you as far as I can get you. You need to go to somebody that can continue to progress you.
that's interesting because I didn't even think about that one.
And when he went to Hottie made some, I mean, that year, I think it was his last year that he competed, he was the same weight, but he was a completely different Chris. But his coach knew and even said, his brother-in-law said, "You are outside of my wheelhouse."
But do you think if Chris stayed with Ian that he still would have won that many Olympias?
I think he still would have, I think he still, the only reason it's tough because he actually did get some push from Summerfield that year. I don't think Dino would have beat him that year, but
Okay.
I think it was closer with Mike Summerfield. Um, but I think it's Chris Bumstead. I think Melissa probably could have coached him to another win.
Yeah, to be
But
fair.
I
Yeah.
do think moving to Hottie, he did see a pretty significant jump in body composition.
So Ian moving from Greg Doucette to Jansen, was that dramatic? I don't know, maybe from what I remember.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know if I could say because he placed top, didn't he place top 10 with Greg or was he outside? I know when he was with Jansen, he placed top, I want to
I
say
don't
top.
know. Greg turned him pro
That's
and
right.
he was always in great shape. Um, so like, what if Ian stayed with Greg? And we could play that game all day long, but I'm just trying to think of like, I know a lot of scenarios of guys leaving their coach and going to Jansen. There was always some sort of difference.
Yeah. Well,
We
and that's
don't.
like a lot of, sorry to cut you off, but
No,
a lot
no, no.
of the men's physique guys that I've seen transfer to cuts. One who I know particularly is a close friend of mine, Miles Mann, was with a couple of local coaches that kind of same thing, just got to the point where he was no longer in their wheelhouse. And he had made some significant jumps in the last year and a half, 2 years working with cuts, from winning an overall to get his pro card to ending this last season top three at a pro show. And that's just a turnout that Cuts. I mean, Cuts has he's dude's a wizard.
So I'll leave you with this last question because I'm very curious, and we've touched on it before. Is it just leaving the coach for the other one, or did other life changes happen along the way? Like I'll use myself as an example, right? So going from Skip to AJ, this is by far the best I've ever looked in my life,
Hmm.
right? I've had so many life changes happen in the last year and a half besides just changing coaches, right?
Right.
I've literally cut my stress in half.
Hmm.
I have a healthy son, beautiful wife, just overall just grateful for everything. Um, I got gyno surgery. I did all these things to invest in my bodybuilding. Um, all my bills are paid. I bought a new house. I all these things were clicking, and I moved to AJ, right? So it was just a compound of all these things. And that's not to take anything away from AJ, or that's not to put any blame on Skip, right? But as a whole, like I changed as a person before I moved coaches,
Hmm.
right? So I brought a different person to AJ than Skip had when I left, right?
Right.
So there was a maturity process in me as a human when I switched coaches. For example, if Nick brings the same attitude to the next coach, where he's like, this guy better do right for me or I'll drop him too, right? It's Does that have to happen? Am I on to something with that? Or
I think it's
um
a combination of different
the
perspectives. And I know we had touched on this a few weeks ago. I truly think it's a combination of both. I think having a different perspective from a coach sometimes can help. Um, but I do also think that it's being in a different place in life. A perfect example, I have a buddy that just competed yesterday, arguably best look he's brought to date. This is his seventh show. He just started with Ben Quill, who just took ninth in men's physique at the
Mhm.
Olympia, but his life has changed too. It had some different life changes as far as relationship. His focus was solely bodybuilding this last year in business. That was it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just
me me
started a
too.
new started another yeah, started another new business. Very successful entrepreneur. Started another new business, but family life changed a little bit, and I'm not going to go into detail on what he's got going on. It's his family, his life.
Right, right, right,
But
right, right.
the main focus for him was literally working his business, growing his business, eating and training. That is it.
So
And
I ironically I can relate to that. And the other thing is like I almost became I almost learned balance. Like, and I know that's kind of like a swear word in bodybuilding, but I learned to be present when I need to be when I'm bodybuilding.
Hmm.
And instead of obsessing about it like I did when I was with Skip, and that's not Skip's fault, it's just me. I'm talking about me here. Because I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea, right? And I always feel uncomfortable talking about this because he's one of my best friends in the world. So,
I'm going to touch
um,
on that in a second too.
okay. And so, I stopped obsessing about bodybuilding and I just put AJ in the driver's seat and I just did everything he said when he said to do it. And I didn't obsess about it. I'm just like, okay, well, this is what we're doing. I'll do my bodybuilding shit. And then I'm just going to go be with my family. I'm going to go make money. I'm going to grow my business, going to pay my bills. Everything's good. And like, I found a way to now make bodybuilding just like a seamless thing. And that's where a lot of my progress has also come from is just not being an obsessive freak about bodybuilding because I don't think you have to be. I think you need to be locked in or whatever the kids say. But I have been for years, dude. It's just now I'm doing it in a way where it's not causing me anxiety and stress. It's like, oh, like this shit's kind of easy. Not gonna lie.
And this is where there's a perspective shift because I am the exact opposite, in the sense that the coach I had prior to Skip was you have to do your cardio at this time. You have to get these meals in at this time. It caused me to be a freak about bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I got with Skip. I will never forget. He sent me my first plan. I said, "When do I need to do cardio?" He said, "You have a family. I don't care when you do your cardio. I'd
And I
prefer."
don't care what you do to
Yeah.
do it. Yep.
Yep. He said, "I don't care when you do it. I know you have a family, preferably in the morning, but if that doesn't fit your schedule, just get it done." And I was like, "You mean I could like do all of my stuff with my family, then when they're getting ready to go to bed, I could," and that completely changed my perspective. Working and that's the reason I feel I have truly continued to level up with him because each year I've gotten to the point a little bit further, like you were saying, where it was less front burner, more back burner,
That's what it is.
just simmering.
Yep.
But it's that perspective shift. And for you, that was working with AJ, and there's nothing wrong with it. And that's where it really comes down to meshing with a coach. Like it really is more than the X's and O's. And I tell this to a lot of people, and I just told this to my friend that competed yesterday. I said, you were in a position of life and the coach that you had, who was not a bad coach, but you just needed
No.
somebody that was a better fit for you that could help unlock your physique and its potential. And for me, that was Skip because I did not progress with my last coach much at all because everything was so compartmentalized. It had to be this. I can't
You
even,
were paralyzed. You were
yes.
literally paralyzed by overanalysis, right?
And it not only affected me, it affected the reason my wife arguably still hates bodybuilding is because of the version that I was during that time. Oh, I
Thank you.
can't go to
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't go to that birthday party because
Yeah.
coach says I have to do cardio at 8 o'clock, noon, and 6 p.m. Literally, I
Yeah.
would miss not my kid's birthday party, but the kids would go to a birthday party and
Yep.
my wife would be like, "Hey, you're coming, right?" "No, I got to go do an hour of cardio. I'll come back when you guys are done and pick you up." Are you kidding me? Like I look back at that now and I'm like, how dumb am I? For what? Like at
So,
that point,
guys, rewind that like 12 times. Your wife, oh, my wife doesn't support my bodybuilding. No, you're doing something wrong.
yeah.
You're you're
And
make you're
I didn't
making
get it.
them resent it, and
And
that's
she
why
did.
they're not supporting it.
Now, now it's, hey, my son has practice at 4 p.m. My gym session wraps up at 3:45. I'll get 15 minutes or 10 minutes in on the steps. Then I'm at practice coaching. And then when I get home after dinner and the kids are
Finish
getting
it
ready to go to
up.
bed, I go finish up the other 25,
Yep.
30 minutes, which is cool for my wife because now she's got time to read her book, decompress. We come back and it's great. But it's not the, oh, hey, I can't make it to my son's baseball practice because I have to go do cardio. Like I look back at the version of me from that time and I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding. Like if I was talking to me, I would have literally said, pull your head out of your ass, either find a new coach or stop bodybuilding because you are ruining your life.
Yeah. And don't normalize that.
No, it's not
Ju-
normal. Like
you
at the
shouldn't
time,
normalize like if a client felt like that from me, I would want them to tell me like, hey, um, is it okay if I do cardio like X, Y, and Z, it's like, well, would that be easier? Yeah, it'd be a lot easier. Well, yeah, do that.
Yeah,
It's like, um, I don't know, man. Like I said, the stuff is just so simple
it is.
when you really boil it down.
And yes, we talk mindset and we talk about having to be all in, but being all
Of
in
course.
doesn't mean negating your family. It doesn't mean negating friendships. Yes, there will come a time where you have to really lock in, and some things might lean one side more than the other, but it's not completely disregarding your relationships and your obligations for something that is not going to give back to you.
So here's the thing. When how many people say, Devon, I'll do whatever it takes.
Oh, almost all any
I
competitive.
will do whatever it takes. Okay. Will you go spend time with your wife
Hmm.
and wake up earlier to do your cardio? Well, I can't wake up earlier because, and it's like, well, so now your wife is going to go do that alone and you're going to do the cardio. Are you really doing whatever it takes? Because maintaining your relationship is what it takes to become a good bodybuilder. Well, what do you mean? I just got to follow the plan to be a good bodybuilder. No, you need to have a solid home life
Yeah.
because otherwise you're going to be quite a lonely bodybuilder and you're still probably not going to be very good.
I was going to say, and chances are,
You
exactly,
know?
you're
Yeah.
gonna end up not much further ahead.
Right. Yeah. And you're broke and you're now single, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think that's all good points for people to remember. If you're really all in, sometimes the all in shit is the stuff you don't want to do.
Yep. And it
Like,
has nothing to do with bodybuilding.
no, no, half the time it doesn't, So yeah, that's our rant on that though.
I love it. All right, well, let's get into this next segment. We don't have a name for it yet, but we will. We're going to talk about our three favorite exercises. Each week, we're going to hit a new body part. This week, we're specifically talking about back. So, if you had three back movements, and obviously, this is just our favorite, each person's going to be a little bit different because there might be areas that you need to improve over what we do. But if you were to just give three exercise recommendations on overall improvement of the back, what are you going with? Tried and true bread and butter. These are ones that are in, maybe not every workout, but at least spread throughout most of your workouts.
Um, I will leave out RDLs. I'll leave those out. I'll keep those for like hamstring or
Yep.
posterior. If I leave those out, it's going to be some sort of single arm pull down ish or high row ish. Some sort of single arm vertical ish row, right? Um, a mag grip T bar row.
Okay.
Okay. So you balance the mag grip handle under the bar, and instead of using one of those triangle close handles, you use a mag grip.
Okay.
Best back movement I've ever done. And then a step forward Chris Edmonds dumbbell row. Those are my top three. If I had to give a bonus one, it's some sort of stretcher, like the
Hmm.
John Meadows stretcher or a Vogapol row, if you're familiar with those.
Ah,
Essentially, it's a straight arm pull down with a rowing motion. So it's a
gotcha.
hybrid type movement.
Mhm.
Um, so like the stretcher, you come out and you pull into here. A Vogapol row, you're just kind of pulling
Ah,
into here, like a
okay.
swooping motion. Um, and really, Chuck Vogapol, he was a West Side barbell powerlifter. He used to do that to train the movement of pulling the bar out from the
Mhm.
rack and
Mhm.
dragging the bar out from the rack. So if you look up Vogapol row on YouTube, you'll find a bunch of examples. So that would be like my fourth bonus one.
Okay. We're not far off. So I would go with a single arm high pull row variation.
Perfect.
I would go with a low pull, whether it's cable. We have a hammer strength low pull that I absolutely love. It's got a neutral and a pronated grip, which I like. I'll usually hit like four sets of that, two neutral, two over the top. One to really get the elbow deep and pull back. The other one hits more of the rhomboids and rear delt coming in the pronated position. Um, so that would be two. Number three would probably be some form of I would I would like to say for just overall back growth, some form of barbell row, um, whether it be a standard barbell row or what's the one that Dusty always talks about?
Like a Penley dead stop row.
Inlay, dead stop.
Yep.
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 Which is probably one of my favorite
Yeah,
variations.
yeah, yeah.
Those would be three of my favorite. My fourth would be either rack deads. I would probably split between these two movements. Either rack deads or T-bar or chest supported pronated grip row rather than the
Yeah,
new.
yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, 100%. Um, try those mag grip rows.
I will.
Yeah,
I'll definitely.
try them in place of your Pendley or your barbell.
Okay.
I really, really think you would enjoy those.
So I have individual mag grip handles that
Okay.
come to like it's got the bar that you can adjust the different widths of
Oh,
it.
the jigsaw, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I have a chest supported row. It will actually attach to the bar on the
Oh,
supported
cool.
row. So I can take the handles off and then in place of
Perfect.
it, put that on. So that'll give me that mag grip. I'll definitely give that a shot.
Yeah, dude, by far, at least for me, um, it just fits me perfect. It
Yeah.
fits me perfect. Sometimes like chest supported row machines, I get like jammed up in the clavicles and I can't
Mhm.
really like shorten, and like
Yeah.
man, those mag grip T-bar rows, I potentially could do those for the rest of my life.
I have a landmine attachment too, so I might just try it on that because I can
That's what I use it
yeah, I'll
for.
slide that
Yeah.
over the barbell. So I'll give that a shot this week too. Yeah.
Yep, yep. That's what I use is just my
Yeah.
landmine attachment. Um, and then I do like, instead of the Chris Edmonds row, the front foot forward, I could argue to replace that with like a Meadows row or a single arm barbell row. But they're all the same concept. It's one arm horizontal type rowing where
Mhm.
you're really letting that scapula lengthen and you're letting
Mhm.
that lat lengthen and really getting the back to open up.
See,
And
me personally is what that's exactly why I love the chest supported rows. The
yes,
one we have at the gym and the one I have at home, the handles go out pretty wide, so I can actually open up the scaps, which is really
think
nice. And
about your
yeah,
posing. Yep,
fully, yep,
open.
fully let it hang
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
come back. But I'm with you. The
Love
ones
that
that
shit.
have the more narrow, I was just at another gym this last week and it had the kind of V and then more narrow neutral grip. I could not really
You're
get,
jammed. Yeah.
yeah, I just felt like I was tight the whole time. And it was
Yep.
more just like a scap row or scap retraction than it
Yeah,
was like
exactly.
actually being able to row.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, give those a try. Let me know what you think. You film them for me. Throw
Okay,
a post on Instagram.
we'll do.
See if you like those. But yeah, that's by far my bread and butter. That one movement, and I just started doing that this year. Danny showed me that one.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, they're kind of weird at first. Some people don't like them. And like did them the first day. I'm like, fuck yeah, these are
Love
money.
them.
These are in forever and ever. Yeah. So cool. That's good. Yeah. Let us know, guys, in the comments. One, your favorite back movements, and then two, which muscle group you want to hear us touch on next.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll do I think getting into like a physique critique where, we'll take a look at your physique. If you have a question on certain movements to help improve body parts, we'll just give it to you from a coach's perspective. And then always taking in questions, whether again it's through Instagram, through the Discord, or just in the comment section below. Hit us up with your questions. We always love doing the Q&As. I think that does it for this episode. So
Yep. I'm ready to eat.
yeah, you and me, Bo, I'm ready to go
Yeah.
cook.
I figured you're getting
Um,
close.
all right. So, Tommy, let the people know how they can get a hold of you.
TommyJohnCoaching.com, Tommy John Coaching on Instagram. Join the Chase Irons forum. That's where we moved our Discord. We moved it to the
Right.
chaseironsforum.com. And then any type of supplements or research peptides that I'm associated with, all of those links are in my Instagram profile. So if you're looking to save some money on third party tested stuff, you can find all that there. So how about you, Devin?
Sweet. You can email me at Devon at NXT level dot, or excuse me, NXT level dash training.com, www.nxt level dash training.com. All your supplement needs for pre-workout at getgforce.net. There's discount codes down below. And then posing and training inquiries can all come through there. Other than that, guys, we appreciate your time and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and share this with one person you think would benefit from it.
Yes, please. Please do.
All right, so that does it for this episode of Beyond the Bar, where Tommy is still with Coach AJ. Uh,
Still
for,
trucking with AJ. He's my
for now,
man.
for now, no.
For now. Yeah, yeah. We'll
uh,
see how the show goes.
yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.